Lesson 11. He is taller than I am. Adjectives.
Hello, students. Well, Anna has gone back to Spain, so we now have a new assistant. Let's welcome her. Hello, Linda.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Please tell the students your full name.
My name is Linda Perez.
And where are you from, Linda?
I'm from Spain.
Where in Spain?
I'm from Ibiza.
Ooh, Ibiza. Tell us something about it.
Ibiza is an island in south of Spain. It is sunny and beaches are beautiful.
Okay, sounds nice. Maybe we can all visit after the lesson. Welcome her, Sylvia and Alberto.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you, Linda.
Nice to meet you too.
All right, students, today we are going to review adjectives, and then we will learn about comparatives. What is an adjective, Sylvia?
An adjective is a word that describes a noun.
Very good, Sylvia. Can you give us an example?
Sure, that's a good book. Good is the adjective. It describes a book.
Very good. That's a good book. In this sentence, good is the adjective. All right, Alberto, what do you know about adjectives?
Well, an adjective gives more information about the noun.
Good. Can you give us an example?
I like red roses.
I like red roses. I like red roses. This time, red is the adjective. It describes roses. Okay, Linda, can you tell me one more thing about adjectives?
Okay, adjectives are not singular or plural. They usually come before the noun. Sometimes they go after the verb to be.
That's correct. Very good. Do you have an example?
That is a good movie.
That is a good movie. That is a good movie.
Good is not singular. Good is not plural. Good comes before the noun.
Very good, Linda. Thank you, everyone. So now we know what an adjective is, and we also know how to use an adjective. Let's take a look at some more examples. Please follow along on your screen. Adjectives describe a noun. For example, I like good movies. Good describes movies. And adjectives can change the meaning of the noun. Look at these examples. It's a bad movie, or it's a good movie. So it changes the meaning of the noun movie. Also, adjectives are not singular or plural. It's a good movie. Or plural, they are good movies. And adjectives are usually before the noun. In this example, it's a good movie. But sometimes adjectives come after the verb to be. Short form. The movie is good. Okay, let's practice using adjectives. Alberto, is this a small room?
No, it's a big room.
Okay, Alberto. Sylvia, does this room have blue walls?
Yes, it does. The walls are blue and the room has blue walls.
Good answer, Sylvia. Linda, does this room have beautiful pictures?
Yes, it has many beautiful pictures. It has pictures of blue seas. It has pictures of busy streets in London. It has pictures of tall buildings in New York.
Very good, Linda. Alberto, is your mother short?
Yes, she's short. My father and my brother are tall.
Thank you, Alberto. Sylvia, Is your bedroom clean?
No, it's never clean. My mother's always angry.
Okay, Sylvia. Is your uncle thin?
No, he isn't. He's a little fat.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. Now let's look at the chart to help you remember how to use adjectives. Follow along on your screen. Example, Tim is riding an old bicycle. So words that describe nouns are adjectives, as we just learned. In this sentence, old is the adjective. It describes bicycle. Next example. The tall woman wore a new dress. So remember, adjectives describe nouns. An adjective changes what a noun means. It gives more information about it. Look at this example. Roses are beautiful flowers. So remember, adjectives are not singular and adjectives are not plural. There is no plural form. Next example. He has a new car. Adjectives usually come before nouns. Another example. His car is white. So adjectives can also come after the verb to be. Okay, now let's look at some questions. These sentences use the verb to be and adjectives. Follow along on your screen. Example, was it an easy test? Yes, it was an easy test. Yes, it was easy. Next example, is your brother a clever boy? No, he isn't a clever boy. No, he isn't clever. Another example. Is Melanie's chair green? Yes, it is a green chair. Yes, it is green. And another example. Are the apples delicious? No, they aren't delicious apples. No, they aren't delicious. And now let's practice using adjectives one more time. Okay, assistants. So please tell me, are these sentences true or false? Tell me the answer and then make some more sentences. All right?
Yes.
Sylvia, I have dark brown hair.
Yes, you have dark brown hair. I have brown hair. And Linda has dark brown hair too.
Very good, Sylvia. Alberto, Milan is a small city.
Yes, Milan is a small city. Paris is a big city. New York is a big city. Rome is a big city, but Marseilles is a small city.
Wonderful, Alberto. Linda, the weather is rainy.
No, the weather is not rainy. It is sunny.
Thank you, Linda. Sylvia, tennis is a dangerous sport.
No, tennis isn't a dangerous sport. Boxing is a dangerous sport.
Great, thank you. Now it's time to look and listen.
Look and listen.
Terry has a red car. His car is new. His beautiful car is fast. My football uniform is dirty. My dirty shirt is red and black. My red and black shirt is dirty.
Read and repeat. Comparatives.
Now it's time to learn comparatives. So when we use adjectives to talk about two people or two things, these adjectives have a special form. They are called comparatives. So comparatives are adjectives that are used to compare two people or two things. And the word than usually comes after the comparative form. To make a negative sentence, we use not before the adjective. Okay, let's look at some examples. Ken is taller than Bill, but Bill is not taller than Ken. So first, Ken is taller than Bill, but Bill is not taller than Ken. Okay, next example. This book is cheaper than that book, but that book is not cheaper than this book. So in the first sentence, this book is cheaper than that book, but that book is not cheaper than this book. Okay, follow the next examples. My hands are smaller than your hands, and your hands are not smaller than my hands. My hands are smaller than your hands, and your hands are not smaller than my hands. Okay, let's look at these sentences and then look at the pictures. Please follow along on your screen. So again, we said Ken is taller than Bill. This is Ken. This is Bill. Ken is taller than Bill. In the next example, we see this book is cheaper than that book. This is a cheap book. This is an expensive book. So this book is cheaper than that book. Next example. Terry's hands are smaller than Mike's hands. Terry's hands are small. Mike's hands are big. So Terry's hands are smaller than Mike's hands. Okay, let's practice using the comparative form. Sylvia, are you taller than your father?
Yes, I'm taller than my father. I am taller than my brother too.
Very good, Sylvia. Alberto, are you nicer than your sister?
No, I am not nicer than my sister. She's always nice. Sometimes I am angry.
Uh-oh, good answer. Linda, are you smarter than your best friend?
Of course I am, but my father is smarter than me.
Okay, thank you all very much. Now it's time to look and to listen.
Look and listen.
Anna is smarter than her best friend. Maria's sister is nicer than Maria. Dan is taller than his brother. I am older than you. This football is newer than that one.
Read and repeat. syllables.
Now let's talk about word parts or syllables. A syllable is a vowel sound. Okay, there are different types of syllables. If we say, for instance, dog, cat, or horse, these have one vowel sound. Dog, cat, horse. So we call these one syllable words. But if we say, next examples, monkey or dolphin or giraffe, we hear two vowel sounds. Okay? Monkey, dolphin, giraffe. So we call these two syllable words. Okay, next examples. If we say elephant or crocodile or kangaroo, we hear three vowel sounds. Elephant, crocodile, kangaroo. So we call these words three syllable words. Syllables are very important when we talk about comparatives. In one syllable words, these words, we add ER. Let's look at some examples now of one syllable words. So the adjective old becomes older in the comparative form. Example, my mother isn't older than my father. Young becomes younger. My brother is younger than me. Sweet becomes sweeter. This dessert is sweeter than that dessert. So we can see in these sentences we add ER to one syllable comparative adjectives. Okay, now let's practice some more. We will use animals. Are you ready? Okay. Linda, is a duck smaller than a mouse?
No, of course not. A duck is larger than a mouse.
Very good. A duck is larger than a mouse. Great, Linda. Sylvia, is a horse faster than a cow?
Yes, a horse is faster than a cow.
Good. A horse is faster than a cow. Thank you, Sylvia. Alberto, is a giraffe taller than an elephant?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Linda, what do you think?
I think an elephant is taller than a giraffe. What do you think, Sylvia?
I think you are not right. I think a giraffe is taller than an elephant.
All right, thank you, everyone. So now we see that for one syllable adjectives, we add ER for the comparative form. Now let's look at the spelling of comparative adjectives in one syllable form. Remember that the 5 vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. All the other letters are called consonants. Let's look at these special forms. Take a look at some examples. Ed is big. John is bigger. So John is bigger than Ed. Another example. Hawaii is hot. Florida is hotter. So Florida is hotter than Hawaii. Another example. Natalie is thin, but Rebecca is thinner. So Rebecca is thinner than Natalie. Another example. My cousin is fat, but my aunt isn't fat. So we can say, my cousin is fatter than my aunt. In these sentences, we can see a special spelling of the comparative form. Notice that the rule is when you have a vowel followed by a consonant, you must double the consonant in the comparative form. I will show you what I mean. Okay, for example, big ends in a vowel followed by a consonant, right? So we have first the vowel, then the consonant. In a one-syllable word, so we have to double the consonant before adding ER. So big becomes bigger. So we double the consonant. Another example is hot. Again, we have a one-syllable adjective that ends in a vowel followed by a consonant. So hot becomes hotter with two T's in the comparative form. So we double the consonant. And we also have fat. Again, it's a one-syllable adjective. We have a vowel followed by the consonant. So fat becomes fatter with two T's, a double consonant before the ER. So let's repeat. Big with two G's, bigger. Hot, double the consonant, hotter. Fat, double the T, fatter. All right, now let's practice. Alberto, are you bigger than your father?
Yes, I am. I am bigger than my father. Many Italian men are short.
Good, Alberto. Can you spell bigger for us?
Sure. B-I-G-G-E-N-R. Bigger.
Very good, Alberto. Sylvia, are you thinner than your brother?
Yes, I'm thinner than my brother. He's fatter than me.
Good, Sylvia. Can you spell thinner, please?
Okay. T-H-I-N-N-E-R. Thinner.
Very good, Sylvia. Linda, is Germany hotter than Spain?
No, Germany is not hotter than Spain. Spain is hotter.
Good. Okay, can you please spell hotter?
Okay. H-O-T-T-E-R. Hotter.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Now, there are also two irregular forms of the comparative. Okay? Please follow along on your screen. First of all, good becomes better in the comparative form. It does not become gooder. It's always better. Second example, bad becomes worse in the comparative form. It does not become badder. It's worse. Take a look at some examples. The weather today is better than yesterday. Next example. He isn't a better football player than his brother. Another example. My score was worse than my brother's score on the test. Next example. I feel worse today than I felt yesterday. Okay, now let's practice these new comparative forms. Sylvia, are you a worse chess player than your brother?
No, I'm a better player than my brother. He's not good.
Oh, okay. Linda, Are you a better cook than your mother?
Of course not. She is a better cook than me. She makes wonderful Spanish rice.
I bet she does. Good. Alberto, are you a better football player than your father?
I am a bad player, and my father is a very bad player. I think he is a worse player than me.
Okay, thanks everyone. Now, don't go away. It's better to look and listen.
Look and listen.
Paul is tall. Jim is short. Paul is taller than Jim. Jim is short. Paul is tall. Jim is shorter than Paul. Vera is thin. Edgar is fat. Vera is thinner than Edgar. Edgar is fat. Vera is thin. Edgar is fatter than Vera.
Read and repeat.
So we have learned how to make comparatives with one-syllable adjectives, and we have also learned how to use comparatives with irregular one-syllable adjectives. Now it's time to learn how to use comparatives with two or more syllable adjectives. For this, we need to add more in front of the comparative. Take a look at these examples. She is more beautiful than her sister. Next example. Baseball is a more difficult sport to play than football. Another example. My father is more hardworking than my uncle. So you see, in these sentences, more comes before the adjective in comparisons with two or more syllables. Okay, now let's practice. Sylvia, are apples more delicious than oranges?
I don't think so. Oranges are more delicious than apples. They are good for energy. I always eat 2 oranges before a football match.
Great, Sylvia. Alberto, is English more important than German?
Yes, English is more important than German. I speak Italian. I want to speak English.
Very good, Alberto. Linda, is tennis more difficult to play than volleyball?
Yes, tennis is more difficult to play than volleyball. Tennis is very popular in Spain.
All right, thank you, everyone. Now it's better to look and listen.
Look and listen.
Tennis is more difficult than volleyball. English is more important than German. You are more beautiful than my sister. My brother is more handsome than you.
Read and repeat.
understand how to use more with adjectives of 2 or more syllables. So now we need to talk about less. Okay? Less can also be used in comparative adjectives of 2 or more syllables. And less is the opposite of more. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples. Please follow along. John is hardworking, but Peter is lazy. Peter is less hardworking than John. Next example. Boxing is interesting, but golf is boring. So, golf is less interesting than boxing. Another example. A football is expensive. A baseball is cheap. A baseball is less expensive than a football. Another example. English is difficult, but Spanish is easy. So Spanish is less difficult than English. All right, now let's practice, and we'll use less in the comparative form. Alberto, is your shirt more expensive than your shoes?
No, my shirt is less expensive than my shoes. My shoes are Italian. They are very expensive.
Okay, very good, Alberto. Sylvia, is a bicycle more dangerous than a motorcycle?
I don't think so. A bicycle is less dangerous than a motorcycle.
Excellent. Linda, are you more intelligent than Sylvia?
I don't know. I think I'm less intelligent than Sylvia. She is more intelligent than me. She is very clever.
Well, I think you are both intelligent. In fact, all of you are intelligent. Okay, now it's time to look and listen.
Look and listen.
That player is less intelligent than this player. Your football team is less successful than my football team. That film is less interesting than this film. This director is less important than that director.
Read and repeat. Review.
Now let's review what we've studied today. First, we learned to use comparatives to talk about two people or two things. We learned that syllables are parts of words. We learned that than follows the comparative adjective. And for one-syllable adjectives, we learned to add ER. Take a look at some examples. Istanbul is colder than Antalya in the winter. Ed's brother is stronger than my brother. Another example. Hawaii is nicer than New York. Another example. My grandfather is older than your grandfather. We also learned that there are special spellings for some one-syllable comparative adjectives. Take a look at these examples. Mike is fatter than his brother. Double the T. Shaquille O'Neal is bigger than Kobe Bryant. Double the G. We also learned that in the comparative form, good becomes better, not gooder. We also learned that bad does not become better, it becomes worse. Take a look at the examples. I am better at bowling than my mother. Georgiana is worse than Angelica at backgammon. And we learned that we use more or less before two or more syllable comparative adjectives. Okay, look at these examples. This movie is more interesting than that movie. Next example. This match is less exciting than that match. There is one more thing that we should learn. We need to learn that for two or more syllable adjectives that end in Y, in the comparative adjective form, we must drop the Y and add I, E, R instead of the Y. Here are some examples. So pretty, which ends in Y, in its comparative form becomes prettier, no Y, I-E-R. My aunt is prettier than your aunt. Another example. Busy, in its comparative form, becomes busier. So instead of Y, we add I-E-R. My father is busier at his new job than he was at his old job. Another example. Tidy becomes tidier in its comparative form. So we change the Y and add I-E-R. Sam's bedroom is tidier than his brother's. Okay, now let's practice some more. Linda, is your sister prettier than you?
She is sometimes prettier than me. When we go to bullfights, she is always very beautiful.
Thank you, Linda. Sylvia, is your room tidier than your brother's?
No, his room is tidier than my room. My room is dirty.
Oh, can you spell tidier, Sylvia?
Sure. T-I-D-I-E-R. Tidier.
Great. Alberto, are you friendlier than your cousin?
I think so. I am friendlier than my cousin. She is sometimes angry. I am always happy.
Oh, that's good. Will you spell friendlier for us, Alberto?
F-R-I-E-N-D-L-I-E-R. Friendlier.
All right, good, Alberto. Now, of course, friendly is an adjective. However, it's a little special because it has two forms of the comparative. We can say friendlier, or we can say more friendly. Okay, are you more friendly than your brother, Sylvia?
I am more friendly than my brother. Are there any different adjectives like friendly?
Yes, there are. Students, you know the word angry. Linda, you and your sister lost the tennis match yesterday. Who was angrier?
She was angrier than me. She was more angry. She plays tennis to win. I played for fun.
All right, great job, everyone. Thank you. Now it's time to look and listen.
Look and listen.
Mark is more handsome than Alvin. Alvin is less handsome than Mark. This street is noisier than that street. That street is less noisy than this street.
Read and repeat.
Now let's look at a chart to help you remember the comparative forms ER, IER, and more. Take a look at your screen. Val is 25 years old. Liz is 20 years old. So Val is older than Liz. Notice, when we use adjectives to talk about two people or things, the adjectives have special forms. So in the sentences, we add ER to an adjective. Here's some more examples. Health is very important. Money is important, but health is more important than money. So notice, when we use adjectives to talk about two people or things, the adjectives have special forms. In these sentences, we use more in front of the adjective. Than follows the comparative forms. Now here's another chart about adjectives. Please take a look. Okay, adjectives with one syllable. We have, for example, young. In its comparative form, it becomes younger. And cheap becomes cheaper. However, tall, notice the spelling, in its comparative form, it becomes taller. Remember, adjectives that end in one vowel and one consonant must have their consonant doubled. So you double the consonant. Here are some more examples of that. Big becomes bigger with two G's. Next, thin becomes thinner with two N's. Also, fat becomes fatter with two T's. And hot becomes hotter with two T's. Let's look at adjectives that end in Y. We have noisy. In its comparative form, it becomes noisier. So notice we changed the Y to IER. Next example, dirty. Same thing, becomes dirtier. Instead of Y, we add IER. So adjectives that end in Y always change the Y to an I and then add ER. Now let's look at adjectives with two or more syllables. For example, famous becomes more famous in the comparative. Important becomes more important. Interesting becomes more interesting. Remember, use more or less in front of adjectives with two or more syllables. Now let's look at irregular forms. For example, the adjective good in its comparative form becomes better. Bad in its comparative form becomes worse. So the comparative forms of good and bad are irregular. Now let's practice these comparative forms. So you fill in the correct answer in the comparative. Okay, you can go first, Alberto. Use large in your answer. My apartment is my grandmother's. Alberto.
Okay, my apartment is larger than my grandmother's.
Okay, very good. My apartment is larger than my grandmother's. Good. Okay, one more, Alberto. It is today than yesterday. This time we're using the adjective warm.
It's warmer today than yesterday.
Very good. It is warmer today than yesterday. Good. Okay, Sylvia, this one is for you. And please use important in your answer. Love is money.
Good question. Love is more important than money.
Love is more important than money. Okay, let's see. Try this one, Sylvia. This time we're going to use the adjective lazy. So Alan is his brother.
Well, I don't know Alan or his brother. Alan is lazier than his brother.
Alan is lazier than his brother. Excellent. Okay, Linda. Last but of course not least, my history class isn't. The adjective is difficult. So my history class isn't my English class.
Okay, my history class isn't more difficult than my English class.
My history class isn't more difficult than my English class. Good. Now your second sentence, Linda. Nadia's German is her husband's. Your adjective this time is good. So Nadia's German is her husband's.
Nadia always speaks German, so Nadia's German is better than her husband's.
Nadia's German is better than her husband's. Good job. All right, Alberto, you do the last one. Sylvia is Linda at hockey. And you choose the adjective.
Sylvia is worse than Linda at hockey.
Okay, good. Sylvia is worse than Linda at hockey. Good job, everyone. Let's practice some more. Sylvia, is the weather today better than yesterday?
No, the weather is worse than yesterday. It is snowing now. Yesterday it was sunny.
Good. Linda, is Jim Carrey's new film funnier than his last film?
I don't think so. His last film was funnier than his new film.
Okay, I agree. Alberto, is chess more enjoyable than backgammon?
Of course, look at the name. Italy is hotter than the Iceland.
Yes, you're right. That was a silly question. Sylvia, is English easier than algebra?
That's difficult. I think algebra is easier than English.
All right, great. One last question. Linda, is reading a book better than watching television?
I think so. Most books are good. I think reading a book is better than watching television.
Thank you, everyone. You were great. Now it's time to listen and write.
Listen and write.
Listen and write the sentences. Football is more interesting than hockey. My football shirt is dirtier than that shirt. Your football shoes are newer than my shoes. Golf is less interesting than football. This car is more expensive than that car. Her car is newer than my car. My car is faster than her car. Reading is usually more interesting than television. Television is less interesting than the cinema. This sentence is shorter than those sentences. Now check your work. Football is more interesting than hockey. My football shirt is dirtier than that shirt. Your football shoes are newer than my shoes. Golf is less interesting than football. This car is more expensive than that car. Her car is newer than my car. My car is faster than her car. Reading is usually more interesting than television. Television is less interesting than the cinema. This sentence is shorter than those sentences. Now, read the following story and answer the questions about it.
Read and answer.
New York City is a beautiful city. It is in the state of New York. New York is in the U.S. Rome is a beautiful city too. It is in Italy. Rome is a big city. New York is a bigger city. There are 8 million people in New York. New York is bigger than Rome. New York is dirty. Rome is very dirty. Rome is dirtier than New York. The people in Rome are very friendly. They always say hello and want to talk to you. Most people in New York are not friendly. The people in Rome are friendlier than the people in New York. You can watch many sports in New York. People can see baseball, football, basketball, and hockey. In Rome, you can watch football and basketball. Sports are more popular in New York than in Rome. Rome is a very old city. There are many old museums, libraries, and houses. New York is a new city. Most of the buildings were built in the 19th and 20th centuries. Rome is an older city than New York. Now answer the questions about the story. Where is New York City? Where is Rome? Is Rome bigger than New York? How many people live in New York? Is Rome dirtier than New York? Where do people always say hello? What sports can you watch in New York? Is New York older than Rome? What can you see in Rome? When were most of the buildings in New York built? Now check your answers. Where is New York City? New York City is in the United States. Where is Rome? Rome is in Italy. Is Rome bigger than New York? No, Rome isn't bigger than New York. How many people live in New York? 8 million people live in New York. Is Rome dirtier than New York? Yes, Rome is dirtier than New York. Where do people always say hello? People always say hello in Rome. What sports can you watch in New York? You can watch baseball, football, basketball, and hockey in New York. Is New York older than Rome? No, New York is not older than Rome. What can you see in Rome? You can see old museums, libraries, and houses. When were most of the buildings in New York built? They were built in the 19th and 20th centuries. Good job today. See you next time. Bye.
Practicing English. I said, come to Daddy.
Hey, you guys. Did I tell you that my cousin Dimitri is arriving from Greece this evening?
Yes, you did. You mentioned that he was arriving this week, but you didn't say when exactly.
When will we get the chance to meet him?
Well, I'm not sure. He'll be pretty tired from his trip today. Maybe you can come over tomorrow night and say hi. I'm sure he'd like to meet some of my friends. We talk on email a lot, and he knows all about you all.
Tell us about your cousin.
Well, he and I have been close all of our lives. When we were little, we always used to play together, because we were the same age and we liked the same toys.
When was the last time you saw him?
Well, we left Greece 6 months ago. That was the last time.
He must be pretty excited to see you and Istanbul.
Oh, he is. His family hasn't traveled as much as mine. It's a really exciting trip for him.
Well, we all look forward to meeting him and helping you show him around the city. So, Dimitri, what do you want to see while you're in Istanbul?
There are many things. I want to see a lot of museums and places. Next year I'm majoring in Roman history at my university.
There are some great museums and places here. Fort, Hagia Sophia, wonderful mosques, archaeological museum, Grand Bazaar.
Yes, they're all very famous. I want to be able to see the Basilica Cistern and the Blue Mosque.
You know, you boys have some things in common and some different. Alexei is a little taller than you, Dimitri.
Yes, and Dimitri's hair is darker than Alexei's.
Dimitri is very smart in school. He always has better grades than me.
Yes, cousin, but you are always more athletic. You have always enjoyed sports more than me.
Alexei's eyes are a little darker than Dimitri's, and he's a little shorter. Who's more talkative?
That's easy. Alexei is always more outgoing than I am. I'm much quieter than my cousin.
Are you saying I talk a lot?
Yes, cousin, you talk more than me. I'm quieter than you. Ever since we were babies, this has been true, you know?
Yes, I've known Alexei since he's arrived here, and he does talk a lot.
That's because I'm curious about things, and I'm always asking questions.
Okay. How else are you two different?
When we were little, Alexei always beat me in running races. He was always faster than me.
Ah, that's true. I always used to win in races.
Alexei laughs a lot. He laughs a lot more than I do, and he laughs louder than I do.
Well, I guess it just proved that too.
So, Dimitri, what do you think of Istanbul so far?
Well, it's a very busy place, and it's busier and louder than my city.
What else?
Well, I was out on the street today, taking a little walk, and I went to the market. Many things are cheaper in this city. Fruit is cheaper, for example. Then I saw a place that sells TVs, and they were a lot more expensive than back home.
What will you do the next few days?
Well, we plan to see a football match, and then spend part of the weekend going to places like Hagia Sophia and Topkapi Palace. I'd like to take walks, so I want to get out and see the city on foot.
That's good, but remember to be safe.
Yes, be safe. Istanbul is much safer than it used to be, but you still have to be careful here.
I also want to see the bright lights of the Bosphorus Bridge. It looks so fantastically bright in all the pictures.
Istanbul is full of amazing places. It is a great city for entertainment, sports, literature, theater. It has everything.
It is a fantastic place. I'm very lucky that my cousin and his family invited me to stay a few weeks. It will be an experience that I will never forget.
What will you miss about Greece while you're here, Dimitri?
Nothing. I plan to be very busy right here, seeing all I can.